Welcome to Culmination, where we're not experts, but we sure have a lot to say. In the process of becoming our best self, I have with me the self-improvement enthusiast Govind and Nadathur to discuss the comfort zone. And with that, let's get started. So, I guess to just get things rolling here, I need to ask you, what is the comfort zone?
So to me, the comfort zone is everything that's, culminated in your life. What are you comfortable doing? Who are you today? What are you? I think that in everyone's life, we have a certain routine, we have certain habits and lifestyles that we get comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, we should never, get settled down, accept that for who we are, constantly improve ourselves in ways that we think we're lacking. So, yeah, basically the comfort zone, I think, what you're comfortable.
Well, yeah, it is. It's very much like that. Um, so what do you think, before we get into like branching out from the comfort zone or whatnot, what do you
Yeah.
think the perks of it are? Like, what's good about the comfort zone?
One, two,
So I think
one,
that
two,
people
three,
who
four.
stay in their comfort, um, on one hand, it's easy to say, okay, you're not making progress, you're, becoming the best version of yourself. But then, if you are really looking at the benefit, you are comfortable who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, in my personal, somebody should never be comfortable, but they should accept who they are. And I think that if you're staying in the comfort zone and you're staying in the spot, then, I think there is going to be an aspect of self-recognition,
Yeah.
accepting. So I think that's a benefit of that. You should have that anyway. Everyone should have that. But I think that if you stay in the comfort zone, you're more likely to be in.
Yeah, I like what you said there, where it's like you need to be able to accept who you are, but that doesn't necessarily translate to like just accepting being the same person that you are, like for the time being. Like, nobody really wants to be the same person forever, you know?
Right.
We touched upon that with just the idea that nobody wants to be the same person for their entire life. But so now let's get into it. Like, what are the cons?
So the cons of being in the comfort zone, I like to think about when we're younger, we're our young selves right now. But I'm talking about even younger than that, when we were, kids. Things
Yeah.
that you do when you're a kid, like habits that you create, the things that you laugh at, things that you enjoy doing, those stick with you for the rest of your life. I
Mhm.
think that right now, those things are going to solidify. So, wait, what was the question again? Forgot where I was
Just
going.
what are the cons?
So, what are the cons of being in the comfort zone? So, I think that once those things begin to solidify, if we can these habits as we enter, like early adulthood next year, and keep those habits, those are going to solidify. It's really hard to escape when you
Yeah.
stop like breaking outside of that comfort zone, breaking outside of that barrier. Stop, improving yourself and finding out who you are, and cultivating what you want in your life. And that
Mhm.
really starts, in this period, or at least like we start progressing towards that.
Mhm.
So I think that it's like right now, like our age is the best time to start realizing what have we what have
One,
we
two,
what habits have stuck with
one,
us, and
two,
what do
three,
we want
four.
To do.
so what are we comfortable
Doing.
that we to
Well, yeah, that's a really great point. Just because it's like all of these memories that we make and experiences that we have, it's just like it forms this, like, really just the comfort zone in general. Like this whole
Right.
zone that we're just stuck in, of like all these pleasurable things, all these great memories that we have, like everything that is comfortable to us. Like, we don't want to let these things go. Like, it's comfortable. Why would you ever want to get out of that? Like,
Right.
if we have all these childish habits and do all these things, like, kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Am I right? And also, like,
Yeah.
just all these things. Like, I don't want to let go of childhood. Like, because growing up means that I have to take responsibility for my actions. I have to do more things. I have to be wary of more things. Not to mention that I'm like, my time is running low. Just, you could think of that as the long term, like living,
Right.
or like just short term, like before I get a job where I work a 9 to 5 for like 40 years. Like, it's just weird to think about. Not that
Yeah.
everyone goes down that path, but you know. So
Yeah.
like why would you want to leave the comfort zone?
So I think it's important to see. It's important to look at what have I been, stagnant doing? What habits have, what has stuck with me that
Uh-huh.
I'm not comfortable in my head with. I'm not comfortable. Let's say that, I've gotten into the habit ever since a young age of, playing video games instead of playing video games at night instead of, winding
Down.
and you stick with that habit.
Yeah.
You want to look at, if you don't do anything, it takes a lot of, I would say it takes a lot of effort to escape that habit. But if you don't self-reflect on what you're doing inside your zone right now, if you don't look at what you're doing and think about, what do I want to change? Then you're never going to improve yourself. So I think somebody would want to leave their comfort zone because in their head they're not comfortable. They're not satisfied or comfortable with what they're doing, but they've
Yeah.
sort of ingrained that habit.
Yeah, it's like you're growing up.
Right. It's sort of ironic.
One,
You're in your comfort
two,
zone,
one,
but you're
two,
uncomfortable
three,
with
four.
yourself.
Yeah. That's a great point. It's like you're growing up. You know you're growing up. You can feel the physical, like puberty or whatnot, like the
Yeah.
physical differences and the mental differences of just like, you kind of want more out of life. Like, I mean, you can look at developmental psychology, just like how your mind changes. Like, it goes from like basic, I want to play a video game and I'm content with that, to like bigger questions like, how do I find meaning in my life? Like, just something so big, so profound, bigger than all of us. And it's like we start realizing that we need to search for that. But I love what you said, just because it's like the comfort zone. We love the comfort zone, but we also hate it because
Right,
we
exactly.
know that we're changing.
Exactly. And the fact that we do hate it means that we have realized that,
We want to be better.
but the fear of becoming that, the fear of the process of becoming that, I should say, the process of telling yourself to escape a habit, fear of that keeps us.
In the comfort zone, but you want to leave so that you can be that person you aspire to be. I had to re-record his points because some of it got cut. Yeah, you cut out a little bit there, but I think we can kind of patch together what he meant. Yeah, it's a really strange thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell an anecdote about,
Myself.
I didn't, so growing up, I used to be very introverted, very, close to myself. I wasn't outgoing or trying to meet other people or doing any of these things up until recently. So I guess that was I never thought about it this way, but that was sort of my comfort zone.
Zone.
I always thought in my head, I always had this thought in the back of my head. I want to escape that, but I never like had a plan to do that or thought that through.
Mhm.
So I would say that I was like that up until my sophomore year. And
Of high
what
school.
changed yeah, high school. What changed my sophomore year? Well, I was working on a science fair project. Basically, the only rules for the science fair are, make a project. You can use anyone around you as a mentor to help you along the way, but other than that, we'll see where you are in 6 months. You have to tell us. So, along that way, as a 16-year-old who has no real experience, who doesn't really know what they're doing to accomplish this goal that they had,
Yeah.
um, the only way to do that is to network with people and be as outgoing as you. And that's exactly what I did. It started out with, talking to my teacher a little bit after class, telling them what I'm trying, and it expanded a lot from there. It went from that to, talking to my friends, parents, telling them what I'm and where I'm trying to go. And it was never like I'm trying to get something specific. It was that I was just sharing it with as many people as possible because if I do that, I'll have a chance of learning something and that'll help me along the way.
Yeah.
So I was forcing myself outside of this comfort zone by being interactive with people and telling them what my dream, at least for the next, that helped me so much by just escaping that, you know, opening up to. So it went from that to I started to network with teachers, and then they would give me another connection, and then I would know people from companies that would, and all in all, this helped me eventually accomplish every single goal I had for that project. Um, Eventually, by opening up to enough people, I was able to set. So that's just
Yeah.
my like personal like recent story of sort of coming out of my shell.
Yeah.
It's brought something really it's taught me a lot about improving yourself. If you do break out
Yeah.
of these shells that you're comfortable in, accomplish what you.
I think you cut out at the end, but yeah, it's just like you your first taste outside of the comfort zone. It's like it's very hard. Like as you described, you had to like start talking to teachers about what you
Right.
wanted to do and getting advice and just hearing them out and then branching out to other students. Like you were an introvert, like it's you can check out the other culmination episode on that, but like it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to get out of your box a little bit with that, but getting out of the comfort zone forces you to do things that you're not comfortable with. Yeah, go figure. Um,
Right.
but then it's like it's kind of like that is like if your mindset is good and you have the intention of continuing to improve, it's like once you get out of the comfort zone, it's like you're just ready to keep going until your efforts
Exactly.
almost become exponential. Like first you start little, like talking to more people, but then eventually you think about your character, you think about like your articulation, like what comes out of your mouth and how it comes out, then you think about what difference you can make to other people's lives or yourself, like with better habits, like eating better, like a better diet or working out, or studying more, reading more, like all of these things. Just really becoming your best self, which is the theme of the show. But all of that
Yeah.
stems from getting out of your comfort zone.
Right. I love that you said that. This sort of expanding effect to other areas of your life. And I especially love the fact that you said the exponential growth that comes out of it. When I
Yeah.
first started, opening up to people and, networking more, the effects were small. It was nerve-wracking to do
Mhm.
because I had to say everything that was on my mind with confidence if I wanted a chance at, grabbing their attention.
Mhm.
If I don't believe it, if they don't see that I believe in myself to accomplish such a big goal in such a small time for this competition, why would they want to help me? So
Yeah.
I had to put myself out there. And so yeah, in the beginning, I felt like the same person, but I was trying to do this, and the effects were small. But
Mhm.
today, I feel that the way I talk to people and interact with people is completely different. I feel that
Yeah.
I have sort of a different personality than I did freshman before all this happened. So
Or
yeah,
it's almost like you have the same, but just like an evolved kind. It's not like you're
exactly.
completely different, but you've evolved into the person that you wanted to be. It's almost like the person you were meant to be if you think about it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all like I only realized I was like different like this year because as you were saying in the beginning the effects are small and they compound a lot. And yeah, I think that experience definitely has taught me the number one thing that has taught me is that I can apply this to other areas of my life to escape the comfort zone and different, succeed in different.
Exactly. And I don't know if you said this, but like you said you were studying, like researching, and that's what got you out of the comfort zone originally. But like, do you want to say what you've accomplished with that? Like your accomplishments with that?
Yeah. So after networking a lot with people, we started to progress in the competition. And
Hmm.
as I said, you have 10 minutes to describe what you've done in the past like year or several months. And that that really that was like the culmination of what of escaping my so after doing all of that, um I was in a team that year and we ended up winning several awards at the regional and state level. And at the end of the state level, there is an interview where you have to present your idea in front of 13 experts, in the scientific field. And
Hmm.
so yeah, it was stressful. And we progressed to the international science and engineering fair, and we won the fourth award in our category, environment. And the next year, I worked alone and again won some awards at the state and regional level. I
Yeah.
was selected to give a TEDx talk about my idea. So you can really see how just starting from like talking, opening up more to people, I opened
Yeah.
up so much. I forced myself to open up, confident in myself, so much to the point where I was called to do an interview for a TEDx talk. And I don't say that to, I really don't want
Here,
to
wait.
come off as, yeah,
Sorry. You cut out. Like you got. Um. Can you just repeat that? Like you got called up to do a TEDx talk, and then what?
yeah. So I ended up getting called up to give a TEDx talk in May of 20.
20 something.
So I really don't want to come off as arrogant or self-praising when I say that. I'm
Uh huh.
saying that to show the journey that I took from it was hard to open up to, just the teachers that I spend every day with.
Hmm.
And I opened up so much to the point where I was confident enough to interview for this talk, was selected to speak.
Yeah.
So I think that the results that goes to show the results really are exponential. And if you
Yeah.
have enough, if you have the vision in your head of why you want, if you have the vision of why you are not comfortable with who you are, that ironic bit of not being comfortable, but you're in the comfort, a part of you is not comfortable.
Yeah.
If you push through that, the results will be exponential. I believe that anyone, no matter what the scale is, they can achieve those results.
Yeah. You can really do anything.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, like, as a disclaimer, it's like the idea is only half of the equation, and the other half is actually, like, putting forth the effort in doing something. Like,
right.
that can't be overlooked either, because it's like some people have all these great ideas but never put it to work. But, I mean, when you get
Exactly.
out of the comfort zone, that's one of the things. You need to actually, like, get yourself off your butt and do it, you know?
Yeah. And like I said, I never planned like I'm gonna try to escape this and try to improve this about myself.
Mhm.
I just had such a strong vision in what I wanted to accomplish
Like
that there
willpower,
was
right?
yeah, it was just willpower.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that you said, I mean, that was like a disclaimer, like, I'm not trying to brag here or anything. You're not. Like, that first of all, you've earned that accomplishment. Like, like, who all can say that they've, like, accomplished that feat? But also it's like, I'm just trying to explain this for the audience. It's
Yeah.
like, this is just a perfect example of the journey that anyone can go through. Like, not just you, not just me, not just anybody. I mean, not that I've gotten a TEDx talk, like, I'm still waiting for that call, but
I'm sure you
yeah.
will get there. You have some
Oh,
time.
yeah. Well, if I really try for it, maybe. But,
Yeah.
well, and just, like, if you believe in yourself, maybe you can make that dream come true. So, yeah, you are a perfect example of that. Like, anyone can do what you did,
Yeah.
but because you did it, that makes you just, like, I don't know, like, it's spectacular, honestly, and I hope that more people can think about that, you know?
Yeah, I really agree because I did not start out being any expert or anything. I had a very specific goal and
Mhm.
I got there by networking with those around me,
Yeah.
learning as much as I could.
Mhm.
Um so so I think that the project or this competition, the science fair, was I would say half of the success could be attributed to just opening up. And
Okay.
I think that that's like a personal, but I think that can be applied to any half of your success or maybe even more. Who knows?
Mhm.
But a lot of your success can be attributed to how much do you open up to, how much do you, how well can you communicate who you are? And
Yeah.
that relates to the comfort zone because everybody struggles with that.
Yeah.
No matter even public speakers who do this for a living have things that they could improve. And I think the better you get at that, and that's a large part of what the comfort zone is for a lot of people. It's just how much do they express themselves. I think
Yeah.
the more you improve that, the further you can go.
Mhm. Yeah, that's very true. And really, the secret to it all is, like, the most basic things that you've probably been hearing for your entire life, no matter if you're an adult or whether you're a kid, like, through K through 12 education or private school, homeschool, just basic, like, hell, even, like, preschool or, like, before school or no school, like, anything. It's just these basic ideas of just, like, expressing yourself, having confidence, working on your relations with other people, like your communication skills. Like, these are all basic things that we all know about. But it's funny that the secret to all of this is just kind of honing in on those core things that we've all known about, but like taking it wherever we go, you know?
Exactly.
Like, of course, there's other like steps along the way, but really that's at the heart of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about, other than the comfort zone in terms of opening up to people, there's a million examples of them. So another big one people talk about is, physical endurance or physical strength.
Yeah.
I've been looking a lot at, Navy SEALs and what they go through to be where they are, have the title of being a Navy SEAL. And there's one rule that really stuck out with me. When you think that you're done, when you think that you're at 100%, you gave it all you got, you're only 40% there. You are capable of accomplishing so much more. You have the potential to accomplish so much more than you and all you have to do to get there is really believe that you can be there. You think you can. If you have a vision for where you want to be, if you have a strong enough belief in yourself, and get there.
Yeah. And
that's
it's
where
interesting.
Yes.
Something like that, I can vision that as like a two-way street. Like, that's either immensely empowering to you, like, like I'm only 100% is only 40% of like my entire being as a whole. Like, that means I'm so much capable of more. So that's like the empowering way of looking at it. But you could also kind of see that, unfortunately, through a negative or at least intimidating lens of just like not good enough. Like 100% of me is only 40% of the equation. It's like how do you think someone can overcome that intimidation?
Well, I think that I stated that rule because I think that that's where people should start. People should start at realizing how much I really do, because the only thing that gets you to accomplishing where you want to be is believing that you can do that. If you think that you, let's say, so here's a personal example. I used to do, I was doing stairs, and I used to do like, I don't know, I just started out small doing 5 minutes, and I would always be out of at the end of 5 minutes of going hard at those stairs. And then I Googled, how much should I be doing? Because I had no idea. And I saw that, people were doing 20 to 30 minutes just jogging up and down. So then I said, screw it, I'm going to do 15 today. Never got tired at the end of 5 minutes. Didn't get tired at the end of 10 minutes. Only at the end I got tired. So it's only where you think that you're going to be done is where truly, that's when your mind gives out. Your mind gives out when you... So I think that realizing how far where you can actually go, how much you can actually accomplish, that's a good place to start when you're thinking about...
Why do you think it works like that?
Because you want to go back to your comfort zone. The stairs or the workout is escaping your comfort zone, and we want to go back there.
Yeah.
So at the end, if you tell yourself, I'm going to be done at 5 minutes, your brain is like preparing to be all comfortable. You're mentally prepared to go back to your comfort zone in 5 minutes.
Yep.
But I think that this is the best place to start because, or not the stairs, but realizing how much you can do is the best place to start. Because once you realize how much you're truly capable, everybody is capable of. once you realize that, it is much easier, I think, to push yourself to where you want to be.
Yeah, and if you set like a higher goal, not like impossibly hard, like if you were to say like I'm gonna like I've been doing 5 minutes, but let's do an hour. It's like that's impossible. But if you did 15 minutes, like you said, like something just more uncomfortable. But if you like tell yourself like no ifs, ands, or buts, like I am going to do this, like that's a great point. It's like your mind is going to set itself, like work itself to saying, all right, we're gonna get tired and burnt out after we meet our quota and not before.
Exactly. And I would
Yeah.
say that you should always be reasonable in your goals. Was it smart to just up the workout that much in one
Yeah.
day? Probably not. But your mind is capable of doing that. So, back to the example with the opening up during the science fair process. Let's say that I was doing 5 minutes of stairs, if like comparatively to how much I was, opening up to people. Let's
Yeah.
say it was 5 minutes of stairs. To the point where I went to, interviewing at for those talks, that would be like doing several hours of stairs. So I think that that's just an analogy to how exponentially it can grow. Once the hardest part is just escaping that first bit, and then
Yeah.
if you're consistent,
I was when you were talking about the stairs and how that works with this, I thought of like my own kind of metaphor, just from I guess like my own experiences, but I feel like this is like something that most people can kind of remember or think about. But like, have you ever been to like a gymnasium where people do like gymnastics
yeah,
and stuff? Yeah, where there's all like those like blue foamy blocks in those pits.
yeah,
Just as a side note, I love those things.
yeah,
Like those things are so fun to just jump into or like try to like dig yourself a hole into. Um, but anyway, there's tons of balance beams, as that's what gymnastics is like. They do a lot of that stuff. But just
yeah,
think about the balance beam. It's like, sure, if you fall, you're gonna fall into these fun foamy block cube things. But like, I mean, obviously, you don't want to fall. That's the point of a balance beam, to balance on the beam. But it's just like
right,
when you're standing on the beam and you look down, what do you see? I mean, first of all, you see your feet and then the beam, but then you see all this negative space, which is like basically where you're about to fall. And I mean, that's why everyone says don't look down when you're on like a scary bridge or something. Like insert any movie with a suspension bridge here. Um, but it's like they say that because not because it's like you shouldn't just look down. It's like, you should probably look where you're stepping, but it's just this self-consciousness of, oh, if I don't balance, then I'm going to fall. And oftentimes you just get scared to the point where you're going to fall. But if you believe that you won't fall, like you tell yourself, I'm not going to fall, I'm going to do this, I'm going to start here and walk across. You can do it. Like if you believe that you will not fall, it's almost like that negative space that I explained doesn't exist. It's just a beam. It's
yeah,
just you, your feet, and the beam,
yeah.
and you can walk across.
I
What
totally
do you think about
agree.
that?
I totally agree because I've been putting that analogy in just like so many parts of my life. If you genuinely think you won't fall, you fall. If we fell, like there would be trouble. But if you just believe that you'll make it across, if you believe that you can keep it together, you
Yeah, like we were walking across logs. I mean, granted, if we fell, it wouldn't be cataclysmic, but still, you didn't want to, or you might get muddy or wet.
right. Um. So I think that it's really easy. It's really easy to stay in your comfort zone with these days with
Mhm.
your phone,
Oh, yeah.
with with just media all around. It's really easy to, I don't know, like, why should I go out and do this when, I could just stay sitting here on my phone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
It's
social
easy to make.
media
Yeah.
is the comfort zone. It's
Yeah.
like the manifestation, if
Yeah,
you
what I
think
was
about it.
getting at is it's really
Yeah.
easy to make excuses nowadays.
Mhm.
And I'm just really trying to say that taking all those excuses away and making the first move is always the hardest and most important part. But it's
Yeah.
the first thing you do. After you
Yeah.
do that, it's going to be easy and
Mhm.
more doable to do anything else.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, people would rather, like, stare at their Instagram or just, like or, just, like, text somebody, talk to them. But it's like, wouldn't that be so much more meaningful to, like, call them up or, like, FaceTime or, like, so you can see them or better yet, meet up in person and do something? I mean, granted,
Yeah,
like, at
people,
the time of this recording, we're still in the middle of the pandemic, so it is harder to accomplish that. But, like, isn't that just, like, a lot more meaningful?
yeah, but that's a great point. People are comfortable with, just tapping their thumbs instead of going out and making an actual connection. But in life there are no shortcuts.
Yeah, and they
When you get
feel lonely as
comfortable,
a result,
yeah, when you get comfortable with shortcuts,
oftentimes.
you're cheating yourself. I think,
Yeah.
in my opinion, you're cheating yourself by without making a real connection. That's just one
Mhm.
example. There's so many things that we get lazy doing in
Yeah.
life. And hey, that's what the comfort zone is made of.
Yeah. Can't cheat the
And
comfort
it's a lot
zone.
easier to stay there 2021. Yeah.
So, I mean, we've talked about this, like, in little increments and just side comments, but I want to just ask the direct question.
All right.
Say, like, you're speaking to all of the young Govins out there who haven't had their sophomore year yet, like, in a metaphorical sense.
Yeah.
Like, what is your advice to them? Not that you know the answer for sure, like, objectively, but, like, what would you say to them about how would you get out of the comfort zone? Like, how would you go about getting out of it when you've been in it for so long and you've never made an attempt out of there?
The first step, I think, is to be thinking about when you're in your
About what?
comfort zone, thinking about what you're doing
Okay. And also,
every
like,
day.
what you
When
wanna
you're in
achieve.
your comfort zone, it's easy to be, yeah, yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so every day when you're in your comfort zone, you can just be you can just be wasting the time away and not even think about it. We all have those
Mhm.
days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nobody is near perfect, but it's easy to just go through weeks of time over the summer. I've done it. Everybody's done it without even.
Looking back and reflecting. Oh, you're cutting out quite a bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just saying whether it's journaling or just thinking about what you did in the past few days or every
Mhm.
day.
Or just, like,
That's like a first step.
reflection.
Yeah,
Okay.
reflection is a good step to take.
Yeah.
And then you can take a look at where where what aspects of my life, my everyday do I want to change?
Uh-huh.
Where do I want to be future? And
Yeah.
then, as I said earlier, you can look at some motivational tips. Is you can look at how much can you actually accomplish, as we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
But take a look at what do you want to accomplish, and getting outside the comfort zone is a heck of a lot easier when you realize what you want to accomplish, but why. When you
Yeah.
realize why you want to accomplish that, every time you every time you struggle or want to stay back inside your comfort zone, you think about why. Why
Mhm.
do I want to keep going? And once you do that, you can stick you can stick to making progress.
Yeah.
That's about it. The progress will compound on itself, be where you want.
It's just like the act of getting started.
Yeah. The act of realizing what's the problem and
Yeah.
then thinking about just how can I get there? Starting. You keep going, be there.
And it's a
Essentially, that's it.
climb.
It
Like,
is. It is.
yeah. It's just like you just have to want to climb it. Like it's going to be hard. Like climbing Mount Everest is quite the feat. I mean, it's cold. It's like you need the proper equipment. You just need to climb up this huge mountain that's bigger than you, bigger than life. But you have to
Yep.
want to get up there. Um,
Yeah. If you stop wanting to be there, you won't get there.
right.
And
What I was
yeah.
thinking, I had a thought bubble of just like it's like you think about these like W questions, like the where, what, how, when, why. Like
Right.
you think about like kind of the order of which is more profound or whatnot. And it's annoying because my dog's going haywire right now, but there's
Yeah.
there's something outside, but there probably isn't at the same time. Um, but it's like back to what I was saying. It's almost like at the bottom, and I would have to think through this more. So this is just like a raw thought. It's like at the bottom of the list is the what. Like what am I doing? What do I want to do? And then a step above that, like a tier above, is the how. I know that's not a W, but
Yeah.
like how am I going to do this? How am I going to go about this? Because like actually executing it is very difficult of itself. And then
Yeah.
like that is kind of in combination with the when, because you have to schedule in when you're going to do that or whatnot. Um, and then kind of like I was trying to think of like where the who could go, but it's like then the who, like who am I? Who do I want to be? And then above that is the why. Like why do I want this? Why am I doing this?
Exactly.
Like the profound
Exactly.
question. Yeah. What do you
I
think?
think that no, I agree with you. I completely agree. So, yeah, the basic point is that you realize the what from yourself reflecting every day. And then the other W's are and the how is sort of focused on what am I going to do? Sort of like how am I going to get there? That's the like how, where, when,
Yeah.
who. And at the top is why. That is the most important one. And two, getting where you want to be. Because
Yeah.
every time you face adversity, you can go back to that and that's going
Mhm.
to keep you on track. If you quit, you're telling yourself that you don't agree with the why on top. If
Yeah.
that makes
And it's like every time you mention the Navy, it's like think about like the training you would have to do, like all that grueling labor. And it's like every time you face plant in mud during an obstacle course, it's like what's gonna get you going again? The why. Like I gotta get on the top of that mountain, you know?
exactly. Um, people Navy SEALs say in their training. So the final week of Navy SEAL training is called Hell Week. It's 130 hours. Basically, they torture you, physical strength exercises.
Oh
And
god.
yeah, um, so that's like the peak. Like they're maxing out. Where
Mhm.
can I get to? And well, that's where the 40% rule comes in. When you think you're done, when you think you're at 100%, you're only at 40. And so every time they face adversity and want to quit, that probably happens to them, every minute. Every minute of that 130 hours, it would be so easy for them to just walk away.
Yeah.
But they keep on going back to the why. That's what they all say. they keep on realizing, why do I want to stay in? Why am I putting myself through this? And that's what gets them through it.
Yeah.
So if they can get through that, I think that it's really, at least for me, it's really inspiring to think about what can you accomplish on a much smaller scale
Yeah.
and turn that into something bigger.
And kind of honing in on the idea of the last episode, the of the podcast, the purpose and conflict episode. It's okay if like you watching haven't watched that video, but we kind of talk about how like there's conflict everywhere, but it's like that kind of like we kind of derive purpose from that in a way. Like take the Navy SEALs, it's like the Hell Week. That's the conflict. Like you have to get through that. But like once you get out of that, like you have such a definite purpose to you. Like like, just the why, like, why you're doing this. Like, everything kind of clicks. Because also, like, you've done this. Like, you survived Hell Week, and you're standing up with your pompous posture and everything. Like, you did this.
Right. So yeah, going back to the original question, what would I tell everyone who's
Mhm.
trying to escape their comfort zone? It's one question. It's why. Why are you staying there? And
Yeah.
then that's you just need to keep asking that question. Really all you need to get to where you want.
Yeah.
Why should I change? You will get.
Yeah, and it's like, why do you want more to life? Or why do you wanna escape, like you said? Very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, I'm not sure. Like or I mean obviously I'm sure about this. I'm just like looking at my little question page because I think we kind of covered the basis. Do you have any other thoughts?
Um, yeah, so just to sum it up, to sum up everything that we talked about, just to get people should get out of the comfort zone because in my opinion, someone should never be comfortable in life. You can be happy with who you are as a person,
Mhm.
but life is a journey and it should never be stagnant.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter what scale. I'm not talking about you should be on a big improvement or project all the time. You should never be on a quest. I
Mhm.
mean, that's up to you. But we should always be seeking to improve ourselves every day.
Yeah.
And we do that.
Just like how can I do something better today or how can I be better today or you know. As an edit, Govind cut out and I kind of forgot what to say, so here's my monologue that I can into.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So yeah, the comfort zone, it's something that we all go through. We all have probably at all times. But it's just an interesting look of how we can get out of it, why we would want to, what are the benefits. It's just like I don't know, a lot of people go through life thinking that like like childhood or just growing up is like the apex of your life. I mean, you've heard people say like some elders saying that high school and college is the best time of your life. I mean, obviously that's very not true for a lot of people. But my point is, it's just like people kind of romanticize childhood, and there's a lot of things to romanticize about it because we don't have to worry about like growing up or responsibility or the world issues that are bigger than us. Like it was all about just playing video games, playing with toys, watching TV all day. Like we didn't have to do anything. Life was simpler, and we all had like aspiring imaginations before we kind of hit reality or whatnot. But I mean, think of it this way. It's like, yes, childhood is great. Like, it's fantastic. Like, no matter how you slice it, like almost everybody looks at it fondly, unless I mean, obviously there's exceptions, but I mean, like, just like this romanticized view of how childhood is nice and favorable. Think about, like, a lot of people see this as the apex because it's like life goes down afterwards. You know, like, a lot of people think that, oh, when I grow up in my 30s, I'm gonna have a midlife crisis or get out of college without a job, or just like be doomed to a horrible marriage that ends in divorce. Like, these are tragic things, and obviously they could happen. I mean, it all depends on your decision making in the end, which you have to be wary of. But also, think about that, just decision making and your mindset. If you think that all that stuff will happen, it might actually kind of influence your behavior, kind of taking a page in the locus of control. Like, if you have an external locus of control where fate is just going to decide itself and make your life miserable moving on, it probably will, from just self-fulfilling prophecy alone. Not to curse you or say that it will happen, but just like food for thought. But if you take control of your life, you try to get out of the comfort zone, and not only that, but like, think, yes, growing up wouldn't be as wishy-washy and romanticized as the youngin' days.
2.
Like, those days are over,
3,
and yes, it's sad that time moves forward. But there's also something beautiful about growing up, because we learn so much. We become wiser. We can pass on our wisdom to people younger than us. We have so many opportunities to better our lives. Like, think about how much of an idiot you probably were, like, at freshman year of high school. Like, like how dense you were, or how awkward you were, or how you would strike out with all the girls or guys, depending on, or anyone else. It doesn't matter. But like, think about it. Like, your life is so long, and you can do whatever you want. Isn't that something beautiful, though? Like, yes, there's going to be tragedy. Yes, there's going to be moments like a hell week. Not like that, but like kind of metaphorically, like weeks of hell. Like a 9-to-5 desk job that might suck. But you own it. You can choose to make a 9-to-5 desk job great. I mean, if you've watched SpongeBob or something, it's like, look at this fry cook who's probably making minimum, whose life probably sucks. At least that might be like what the viewer might think. Not like, obviously, like, I'm not saying that being a fry cook sucks. Like, people do that. Like, you know, I'm just trying to cover my ground. I have nothing against that or anything, but I'm just explaining SpongeBob. It's like, look at this guy who's like, I guess you're supposed to think he's way too happy for what his job is, and in contrast to Squidward, who just like, wow, I really wish I weren't here right now. Like, I don't know, you can be SpongeBob. Like, everyone likes to say, oh, SpongeBob's so sad because we watch it as kids and we're SpongeBob, but then we turn into Squidward. Like, oh no, Steven Hillenburg, the creator, doomed us. He warned us about us becoming Squidwards. But here's the little secret to this overly long monologue. You can be SpongeBob. You can own your life. You can change. You can evolve. You can grow. Your life doesn't end with your apex. Never have an apex. Always assume that things will get better, because you can make it better. There's nothing stopping you. Just get out of the comfort zone and see how much you can truly accomplish. Because probably what you've accomplished so far is only 40% of what you can do. How's that for a conclusion, baby?
I completely agree. Was that it?
I guess so. Do you have any closing thoughts before we end this?
Yeah. I just think that,
1,
as you said,
2,
everybody is going to go through this, and perspective is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that matters a lot to the comfort zone, because the journey of getting out of it, it's all about your perspective, as you said. You can be SpongeBob, or you can be Squidward when you're looking at like you said, it makes complete sense to me at least. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think everyone's gonna go through this. I hope that this episode just opened up your mind to how you can get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and I mean, as the tagline of the show, we're not experts. We don't fully know what we're talking about. Like,
Very true.
we're not in our 30s or anything. Like, hell, you could discredit everything we said or whatnot, but it's just something for you to consider. We're not preaching anything. We're just offering you what our humble discussion. Just like, what do you think?
Right.
So,
And
like,
this is
I don't know. Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think that our age right now is the perfect time to start thinking about this, because this is when we start to make decisions, the age of 18, or at when high school's at. That's where we start to make decisions about what am I going to do the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
I just really hope that this opened up at least somebody's mind, at least your mind a little bit, to how you can take control of your.
Yeah, get out of the comfort zone, man. And you might be more comfortable outside of the comfort zone in the end.
Yep,
Think about that.
A lot of irony. Yep.
Right. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun talking to you, Govind. I'm glad you came on here.
As well. Yeah,
And
I really enjoyed it.
yeah, it's been great having you. And with that,
Thank you,
I'll
Casey.
see you guys next time for another episode of Culmination.